All right, welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Let's grab clip number 8. Then I'll get to the phones. Let's grab clip number 8, the Ed Schultz clip. Ed Schultz, by the way, back on MSNBC at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. They've bounced Chris Matthews out of that slot. Chris Matthews originally was on both at 5 and at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Now they're just going to have Chris Matthews on at 7. Ed Schultz going to be back Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, Ed Schultz talking about Obamacare, and he claims to be a born-again Christian. This is amazing to me because he starts his show with a prayer, just like we do here. I don't know if Ed Schultz has been paying attention to what we do here on Focal Point and imitating what we do, but here is Ed Schultz. This is amazing. Here's Ed Schultz, MSNBC, starting his show on MSNBC with a prayer. And then he gets around to calling us phony Christians. Now, I want you to listen carefully because I want to set this up with one statement. The problem with Obamacare is that it steals from our neighbors. That is the problem. It takes from our neighbors at the point of a gun. It extracts resources from them and gives them to people they've never seen, they've never met, they never know, they never will meet the rest of their lives. It's redistribution of wealth, particularly from the young to the old. Obamacare is predicated on the fact that the young aren't going to need health care, so we are going to soak them. We are going to charge them exorbitant rates for their health care coverage that they're not going to need. We're going to take that money from them by force because we're going to fine them or lock them up if they don't give us the money, and we are going to give that money to senior citizens. This is a massive program of stealing from the young to give to the old. That is taking from your neighbor. Now, hear Ed Schultz in here say that's a really, really bad thing to do. Doesn't realize he has just skewered his own argument. Here is born-again Christian Ed Schultz opening his program with a prayer. Let's listen.
So, folks, let's start with a prayer. Dear Lord, in this house of worship called Ed tonight, we bring praise to you, dear Lord, and give us the strength to fight back against these soldiers of defeat and these soldiers of deceit when it comes to Obamacare. Give us the strength to heal the sick and help the poor because we know that's what you want, Lord. Amen. See, now I have to start every show with the prayer as of late because there's all this lying going on at town hall meetings across America with these Republican congressmen going home saying that Obamacare is bad for America. It simply is not. It is fantastic. In fact, I would make the case that Obamacare, along with civil rights legislation that we passed back in the 60s, is the most moral thing this country has ever done when it comes to a collective government body. This is good for America, and I won't let them lie. They're phony Christians when they say that they are Christian, but then they want to take away from their next door neighbor. They don't want to be their brother's keeper. Here's the bottom line. I'm still waiting for this evangelical pastor to show up on the Ed Show and tell us, is this Christian-like behavior to take away health care from a fellow American, from a fellow citizen, from a person of God? Is that what we're all about as a country? Where is our moral fiber? A growing number of right-wing Christians are coming out day after day opposing Obamacare under their leadership. And as a Christian, I think I have an obligation to expose their hypocrisy and call them out for all of the things that they are saying wrong and how misguided they are. Make no mistake, there is no moral or religious case for taking away health care from 30 million Americans. The fact is very simple. If Obamacare is repealed, Americans will die. Children of God will die. Is that the moral position that we have as a country? It's a fact. Every Christian should keep this in mind. However, for reasons unknown, Christians have been attacking the Affordable Care Act as if it's the devil. Pat Robertson, America's favorite doomsday prophet, said Americans must rise up against Obamacare.
Well, Ed Schultz, here's the bottom line. I'm still waiting for this evangelical pastor to show up on the Ed Show and tell us, is this Christian-like behavior? Well, Ed, I'm waiting for your call, buddy. Glad to come on the program. Happy to chat with you about this. A couple of other things, I'm hearing from people that think, look, what that prayer was at the beginning of the program was just plain blasphemy. That's what, Rob was speaking to me as we're listening to the thing unfold, just blasphemy on his part to open his program with that kind of a prayer. But I don't know. I think maybe he was legitimate. He honestly believes he's on the side of the angels here. He's on the side of God. He's got to pray to help defeat these soldiers of defeat, these soldiers of deceit. And notice he says that this is the most moral thing the country has ever done. Now, this is from somebody who always tells us you cannot legislate morality. So this is flatly contradictory. He tells us in every other circumstance you can't legislate morality. Morality can't be legislated. What are you trying to do, forcing your morality down everybody's throat? But now he says this is a moral thing, and forcing it down everybody's throat is the most moral thing that we can do. So it's wrong for you to legislate your morality, but it's perfectly fine for me to legislate and impose my morality on you. And again, he says, look, he just skewers his own argument. They want to take away from their next door neighbor. He says that's bad. Taking away from their next door neighbor, taking something that belongs to your next door neighbor is bad. Well, he just skewered his entire argument because Obamacare is predicated on that very thing. Government taking things from our neighbors and giving them to other people. So he just kind of shot himself right in the foot, I think, on that argument. So it's interesting listening to Ed Schultz imitate Focal Point, open his program with prayer, talk about legislating morality, talking about the fact we should not steal from our next-door neighbors. Thought I was listening to myself there for a brief shining moment. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Ricky, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Ricky, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind? Okay, let me bring Ricky in. All right, Ricky, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You're on Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Yes, I just finished listening to Ed Schultz. Of course, he's just mocking God, and like you said, his blasphemy. I mean, just two-faced hypocrite. Just like Governor Christie is a two-faced hypocrite, claiming to be a Republican, but then is all for sodomy rights. I mean, Christie, the Republican Party needs to excommunicate him, just like the Catholic Church needs to excommunicate Governor Christie for being a two-faced hypocrite. And this might shock you, Brian, but at least 50% of all people that come out and strongly favor sodomy are actually sodomites themselves. They just happen to be closet sodomites. But when it comes out that Christie is a practicing sodomite, it's going to shock your audience and everybody else. But 50% of all people that strongly, favor sodomy are actually closet sodomites. I mean,
well, I wonder about that. I probably would have to take issue with you on that, Ricky, because, I think the best research that we have done, I mean, UCLA did very extensive research, and, the conclusion they came to looking at the entire population is that at the most 3 to 4% of the American people are homosexuals. I wonder, and that's the statistics that's been pretty consistent over time. So that's the figure I think and that's UCLA. So, I mean, they would be biased to make that number, as high as they possibly could. So I wonder, Ricky, if it's just a case that we have become so morally unmoored as a nation, that the morality that people operate with today, there's no restraints, there's no curbs. If it floats your boat, do it. If it feels good, do it. Whatever you want to do, hey, knock yourself out. That they just support it sort of on this principle that they operate from, that people ought to be able to do whatever they want to do. Hey, knock yourself out. So I wonder if it's more just kind of moral. It's not so much that they're practitioners themselves. They wouldn't do it. They would say, hey, not for me, but hey, if that works for you, hey, that's good. I'm happy for you. Go knock yourself out. And so they defend it kind of more on that standpoint than the fact that they personally are practitioners. Because I tell you, Ricky, I have people accusing me on Twitter every day, multiple times, of being a closet homosexual. They do that all the time. I mean, that's kind of the way they think. If I talk about as much as I do, I must be hiding something. I must be concealing something. I must be a closet homosexual. So I just wonder if it's more just an indication of moral anarchy. I mean, what do you think about that, Ricky?
Well, you actually definitely talk against it, so you're not no closet. It's people that's actually for it, like Christie's probably in that 3%, or 2% of the population.
Yeah, but see, I don't see any indication that Chris Christie would be a practitioner himself. In fact, I think all the evidence would point in the other direction. So it just seems to me that he's just kind of fallen into this this loosey-goosey, anything goes morality. We can't have any curbs on sexual impulse. Everybody's got to be able to do whatever they feel like doing, and we are compelled to approve of that, no matter how it offends the law of nature or nature's God. So, I mean, so I guess that's the way I would look at it, Ricky. I look at Chris Christie. I don't see any evidence there that he may be involved in that kind of behavior himself. So, all right, Rick, listen, I appreciate the call. Thank you for that. Let's go to Lindsay in Surf City, North Carolina. Lindsay, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. Surf City, huh? So you got surf in North Carolina, Surf City.
Oh, yeah, it's right on the coast.
Now, this doesn't have anything to do with Jan and Dean, does it? How did the city, how did it get its name?
No. I've got about 3 or 4 points there.
All right, shoot.
You were talking about Hillary Clinton and her stepping out for 2016.
Yes.
And I wonder if that's got anything to do with this agreement that the Clintons had with Obama that he reneged on not too long ago, and they were kind of furious over that. And also I wonder if it's a distraction from Benghazi,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And then the other point is...
So the Hillary sort of trying to draw the attention away from Benghazi by focusing the attention on her in 2016?
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. Well, and I know there's no love lost between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, the Clinton camp and the Obama camp. There's actually a lot of anger and bitterness and hatred there between the two camps.
Right. There was a reneging of an agreement they had not long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the other point I wanted to make, I saw this video on WND, World News Daily,
Uh-huh.
and the name of it was Agenda, Grinding America Down.
Yes, by my good friend Curtis Bowers.
Yeah, and they talked about the different fronts, the homosexual front, going against the Christian faith, the teachers, the IRS, Obamacare, and in other words, a lot of it went back to Frank Marshall Davis,
Yeah.
Bill Ayers, and all those people, and the different mentors and people that President Obama.
Yeah, and you know, you trace that far enough back, Lindsay, as Curtis Bowers does in that movie Agenda. You trace that thing far enough back, and there's a direct line of descent from Karl Marx to Barack Obama. So it's a very, very good documentary, Agenda, by Curtis Bowers, Grinding America Down. Focal Point, AFR Talk. Be right back. Stay with us.